Nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. Before we get started wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today I'm joined by Pat.
Hi.
And Mel's here.
Hi.
And we are going to be talking about abundance mindset.
And just a reminder before we get started to use my code PATSITIV for 10% off all courses. I get a kickback from these enrollments, and they're how we support the production of the podcast. Or you can use Mel's code.
Yep, mine is just Mel.
So for those that have been listening for a while, it's now changed from Jungle Nails to Mel. So make sure, I guess the Jungle Nails one technically still works, but it's a new code. So before we get stuck into this week's topic, let's revisit last week's episode. Mel, what were we talking about?
Last week we were chatting about the algorithm and how it can affect our motivation and to post, and how some people use it as an excuse not to post or avoid posting.
I think last time as well, we were talking about how we should actually take the algorithm as our friend, because if we do our job well, then the algorithm will push our content to the right people. But if we're trying to make our content just be for anyone, then the algorithm is going to be like, boring, not going to send it to anyone. So you should make sure you're tailoring your content. And if that sounds interesting, go back to that last episode. So this week we're talking about abundance mindset, right? Have the two of you heard of that term before?
I kind of have, yeah.
Cool. Well, in case people listening haven't heard of it. So abundance mindset is like, it's about having this belief that there's more coming. There's enough success, opportunity, money, and clients to go around, not just for you, but for everyone in your industry and in life in general. It's about believing that, you know how there's this idea that you need to get a slice of the pie, and if everyone gets a slice and there's not enough left. Have you guys heard of that?
There's something in a kid's book. I think it's like the duck makes a pie or something, and then everybody comes and the first person takes like half the pie, and then the next animal comes and takes like half of that half, and then it ends up
there's like nothing left or something.
Yeah, and then the last person actually splits the smallest piece because they're like, there's enough.
That's so cute and also so sad. The first animal is so rude. But
yeah, I can't remember, but listeners might know what book I'm talking about.
I'm like, I've never heard of that, but if I need a children's book. But anyway, so the idea that there's like, you run out of pieces of pie, that's the opposite of abundance mindset. So with abundance mindset, it's not that there's just one pie and everyone runs out. The idea is like, the pie keeps growing. It's like an unlimited pie. You can keep growing the pie, and there's always more slices for you to take from. So it's about focusing on growth, like growing the pie and being generous. So you don't have to worry that, like, if I have to take half the pie because there's not going to be enough pie left later, you can actually be like, I'm going to share with everyone because there's going to be more. So there's more possibilities. You can collaborate. You don't have to be like, I'm so afraid. Oh my gosh, people are going to take my pie, because there's going to be more pie. Relax. So yeah, with an abundance mindset, you trust that even if one client leaves, then another will come. Even if it doesn't come straight away, like, you know, sometimes people aren't doing well or some people are doing well. It doesn't take away from your own success because there's going to be more. What do you two think about that?
It reminds me of how we used to talk about the revolving door, eh? Like one leaves, another one comes around.
Yeah, that's true. Because like people have different circumstances, right? So just because one person leaves doesn't mean that that's it. Shut the doors. No one's ever going to come ever again. And also like you know how like sometimes, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but it's like there's the luck factor thing where it's about your mindset and being open to opportunity. So if you like lucky people, and this is like a scientific thing. This guy actually did studies. He was doing research and he noticed that the people who described themselves as lucky versus people who described themselves as unlucky, they were actually like noticing, not noticing, but they were experiencing similar opportunities. But the people who described themselves as lucky would actually notice, whereas the unlucky people didn't see stuff. So, for example, in business, it might be like, you know, how sometimes people are friendly and they're like, oh, can you tell me more about blah, blah? Or they might be more subtle than that. They might just make a comment. If you are a lucky person, someone who's like looking for opportunity, someone with an abundant mindset, then you're more likely to actually jump on that and be like, ah, did you know I do nails? You should totally come check it out. But if you're someone who's more like closed off to abundance and you're not looking for, you just kind of assume you're unlucky, you might completely miss that signal and just not do anything with it. Penny, have you noticed that kind of dynamic showing up in your life? Like if you open yourself up to opportunities and you try and just notice things, that more things come your way versus if you're just like trying to ignore stuff.
Kind of, but like I think there's an element of it being inherently in your personality or not, along with it being like phase driven as well, because I think in general you're naturally drawn to either abundance or scarcity. Like I guess you're either a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of person. So I guess my clear answer is like no, I don't see that, but that's because I've always just been glass half full in that regard. Like I'm always like, she'll be right, we'll just do the next thing. And I know not everybody's like that, but I think everybody sort of leans one way or the other.
Mel, do you have anything you want to say to that?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Penny. Like you just meet some people and they're so bubbly and just always positive, and like you're definitely one of those people, Pat, where other people, they're just never happy.
There's definitely also a phase element to it. Like I don't think it's abundance mindset so much for me though, but it's like what energy I put in, I get that back. So like if I'm going through shit in my personal life and not putting as much effort into my business, then I will notice that not as much comes out of it to me. Whereas if I'm like in hustle mode and working on projects and doing cool stuff, even if that stuff doesn't like directly generate money will start flowing. But I think that's more of like a woo-woo energy thing where I'm putting energy in and therefore I'm getting it back, because it's not a case of noticing opportunities like what you were saying, Pat, because I'm not doing anything to directly generate the income. It's just like if I'm in a good headspace and I'm putting energy into the business seems to then just do well. But it's not because I noticed an opportunity and ran with it. But I think in general, I just have an abundance belief system, which I guess leaves space for me to do those projects, like things that aren't making money. I trust that I have the space and time to work on projects that don't generate income directly, or like, for example, building a course that may or may not make a profit, because the abundance mindset means that I'm like, yeah, no, I'll make money. I just don't know if it'll be through this.
But see, I think that actually fits in with that mindset thing or the looking for opportunities. Because if you didn't come from a mindset where there's going to be more and things will come my way and, you know, she'll be right, then you probably wouldn't even try, because there are lots of people who'll have an idea and then they'll be like, oh, but nothing's going to come out of it. Or I'm sure you've met some people, right, where no matter what happens, that for some reason they just take it negatively. Like you could probably give them $100,000 and they'll probably somehow, I don't know, like some people just turn things negative.
That's what I mean though, is when you were saying like, have I noticed it in my own life? I'm like, no, because I'm a glass half full abundance person. And that's what I mean when I was trying to say before, like you either lean one way or the other. Because you're right, there's so many people that you give them $100,000 and they'd be like, yeah, but this doesn't pay off my house, or this will only last this long. And you're like, are you freaking kidding me? Give it to me then.
Not 100,000. Like, how dare you? I see what you mean, Penny. Yeah.
Like, so directly related to salons, the abundance mindset is like, instead of worrying about other techs stealing your clients or clients are going to leave or whatever, you just think about how you can make your services stand out, or like the 5 senses that we talk about, or like stuff like that, or the fact that you might refer a client to a totally different nail tech because they're better suited, or you're full or whatever, and you don't worry about referring to someone else altogether because you know there's enough clients for you, kind of thing. And then like the flip side, the scarcity mindset, the glass half empty people are people that are like panicking when like another nail tech moves in 5 minutes down the road, and you panic because they assume that that person's now going to like take your clients, when actually you've got no reason to believe that that might happen.
Yeah, and it's an energy thing too as well, right? Because like if you're just walking around with like this negative aura around you, people can feel that. And if you're coming across as desperate as well, then sometimes that can turn people off. And that's a thing with business, but also it's a thing in like dating, right? Like you don't want to date the super desperate weirdo, because then it's like, oh, okay, like you're being a bit weird. So energy, like have good energy.
I think in it, so I just don't know if this will help other people that are listening, but my brand of spicy brain does not compute with the pie example from earlier, because in my head, like the way that my brain works is so literal that when you're like, no, because the pie will regenerate, I'm like, that's not how pies work, Pat. Pies don't regenerate. But like in my head, the way that the pie example would work is you can make more pie.
Cool.
But like, just because, yeah, when I'm only saying it in case it helps someone else who was like, wait, what? Because I know we have a lot of neurospicy listeners. But yeah, in my head, I'm like, no, if you take half the pie and the next person takes half the pie, there's no pie. It's not going to magically have more pie. But the trees will keep growing fruit and the field will grow wheat, and you can go to the supermarket and you can make another pie.
Or there's like a magic pie baker in the background. You just don't know they're baking pie.
Sure.
They keep replenishing it.
But it's not magic because we're working in specifics with salons and we have to do the work. I don't want people to think that the abundance mindset means you don't also have to work for that abundance. You know, like, yes, okay, the abundance mindset is a belief that there's more around the corner, and someone, say, moving into town doesn't mean you're going to lose all your clients or whatever. But that doesn't mean, I think sometimes I see people in the industry who are like, I am going to quit, I'm going to close my business. And like, they've been a nail tech for 2 months. Like they just qualified. And then they kind of expect to be like a Pied Piper of nail clients. And someone else moves in down the road. And they're like, no, I'm going to quit. There's no clients to go around. And you say to them, oh, well, what did you try? What didn't work? Let's see if I can help you. And they're like, nothing. Like they didn't try anything. They just went like, oh, well, can't do it. So like,
I've tried nothing and I'm all out of ideas.
Like the abundance mindset is the start. You still have to actually do the work.
Yeah, I think I thought that when I first qualified. I think I've talked about it before. Because of where I used to live, I had, a presence in the community. I just assumed people would be like, oh, cool, Mel's doing nails, I'm just going to go to Mel. And I just thought I would be like fighting people away, when really, no, that didn't happen at all. But yeah, I agree with the mindset thing and the phase of it. Like, yeah, depending on what life throws at you, your mindset can change. I feel like, because mine has definitely changed over the last couple of years, but then it can change back again, right? Like the fixed mindset. And a lot of students will say it like, oh, I'm just not good at it. Well, their biggest fear is that they're not going to be good enough. Where the growth mindset, you can kind of think, wow, I'm really shit at this right now, but I'm going to practice and get better and grow. And then I'll be where I want to be. But people seem to have this sort of different mindset of one or the other. I don't know what I am. What do you guys, do you think?
Hey guys, Penny from the future here. Are you ready to take your salon to the next level? The Client Magnet is a free 5-day online coaching program by Monaco Nail Academy designed to help you attract and retain clients. With our comprehensive program, you'll learn proven techniques to grow your client base and keep your schedule packed. From expert marketing strategies to client retention secrets, we've got everything you need. Transform your salon and achieve the success you've always dreamed of. Join the Client Magnet today and start making your salon the go-to spot in town. head to www.monaco.ac.nz/magnet. I think I'm generally abundance mindset. Like, I know there's more coming. I don't think I ever lean scarcity mindset, because scarcity is really the like core belief that there's only a limited amount of like success, money, clients, opportunity to go around. And I don't think I ever really believe that. I think when I lean away from abundance, it's not that I think there's like I've finally found the ceiling. I think it's just that I'm tired. So I do believe there's enough to go around. I just also know I have to work for it. And sometimes I don't have the mental space to work for it. And then in terms of like fixed mindset versus growth mindset, like I think I'm always leaning growth mindset. Like I know that I can get better at something or like, do better. But I am also pretty self-aware about whether or not I want to. Like say, for example, sports, I suck at. That doesn't mean I'm of a fixed mindset that says I'm just good at it or I'm not. And I could never be good at sports, so I'm just not going to try. What it is I know I'm not naturally good at sports, which means if I wanted to be good at it, if I was really passionate about it, I'd have to work 10 times harder than some other people to be just as good. And I don't like it. I don't like it enough to want to try that hard. So I think like it's still a growth mindset. I'm aware I could be good at soccer if I really wanted to be. I just don't want to be enough. So I put my energy into other things. But I think it's still leaning abundance and growth, not scarcity and fixed.
That's a really balanced view. Yeah. I think mine is like I lean towards growth mindset. Like I always think I can be better, but it can be also toxic. I don't know if people have talked about like you can be toxic in your growth mindset, like to the point where I'm like, yeah, but I could be better. But then it's like, because I can be better, I assume where I'm at is really bad and I'm so shit. And it's like, but actually you're fine as you are. Go for it. But then I'm like, oh, but I could be better. I could keep growing. So then and then that also can paralyze me, which is annoying. So I'm working on that. And then in terms of abundance versus scarcity, I think I do agree with both of you that like that comes in phases. Like, but also it's like weird. Like I'm always thinking like there's abundance out, but then there are times where I'm just like, but the abundance is just for other people. I'm not part of that.
Well, that's
and then
I was going to say, when you first were talking about growth and fixed, I was like, wait, are you growth scarcity? Which when I was thinking about my own brain, I was like, well, you must be abundance growth or scarcity fixed. But I think what you described, we see, or I don't know, I see in students all the time. Like the idea that there's room for you to improve, therefore where you are is shit. Like if you're not perfect, you could be perfect, but if you're not perfect right now, you must suck. Like I see that in students all the time. But then what you've just described, I think, is scarcity growth. Because, and I would have always thought that if someone said like, what do you think Pat is? I'd be like, abundance, of course. But actually, I think you're scarcity, because like that idea of all of the abundance is for other people, that makes sense for you sometimes, but also a lot of students that we talk to, where you're like you're always trying to improve on stuff. So you're definitely growth, not fixed. Like you, even just in your hobbies, you're like, I'm going to try this new thing and I'm going to go to this class and I'm going to do this thing. So that there is no question your growth, not fixed. But like, I don't know. What do you think? I think you lean scarcity.
Oh, I think the reason why I lean towards scarcity is trauma related. So I think naturally my inclination is towards abundance, but I have learned to think in a scarcity way, because that's what's kept me kind of like safe. But then also weirdly, I do better if I lean into my natural abundance. But yeah, I feel like the whole scarcity thing was put upon me. Like, oh, is this a therapy session? Who knows?
Like 80% of our episodes end up being therapy for one of us.
I think I'm the same as you, Pat. Like I used to be very abundance and like life is fine, it's fine, we'll deal with it, like you said, Penny. But now life has kind of crushed me the last few years, and now I'm definitely fixed. Like, yeah, I'm more like hesitant to lean into that abundance and try new things and take risks, because life's kind of taught me that, no, Mel, you don't win when you do that. So don't do that anymore. But I'm trying to like get back to the old mindset.
It's similar-ish to what I was saying about how like sometimes I know there's abundance out there. I'm just too tired to go get it.
Yeah. And that's me at the moment. I'm too tired to deal with it if it doesn't go well. So I'm just not going to try it right now. I just need to stay in my little safe zone and just potter along for a while until I can kind of get some strength back, I guess. And then I'll lean back the other way, maybe.
But that's also important, right? Like leaning into phases. I was having this conversation yesterday with someone where I was like, I always used to think that like more is more. You have to hustle harder, do more kind of thing. And then now if I feel like I don't want to work, and I don't mean like I've got clients booked. I mean like there's a project I could be working on right now and I don't want to, then I'm trying to lean into that and listen and not beat myself up for it, because like this is tangential, of course, but like, yeah, because previously I'd be like, no, I have to work harder. I have to try harder. I have to do more. And like, I'm not going to get success if I don't keep going until late at night and like whatever. But now I'm like, no, it's okay to stop and read my book. It'll still be there. And I guess that does actually tie back into abundance, is like allowing myself to recalibrate, get that energy back, because I've been in those situations where I'm like, I've got nothing left. Yeah, lean in and just read my book or go in the garden or do whatever, and then be like, no, I can hustle tomorrow or the next day or maybe a week from now, but I can do it later.
Yeah, I like that. And I always tell people when we have these kind of conversations that I hope in like 10 years time, when my daughter's 23, that it's normal for them to say, no, I'm taking a little break for myself. Like, I'll come back to you when I'm ready or whatever, you know, like I hope it's normal. When I was her age, it wasn't normal. You worked until you pretty much dropped dead, you know, like the generations above us, people always say, oh, they'll never stop working. He'll die on the work site or, you know, whatever. It was so normal then. Also, another side tangent. We could do like a chat about books, what we're reading and what we thought was good and what other people should read.
Yeah, fun. Just a whole book club episode.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Because as soon as you said read my book, I was like, oh, I wonder what Penny's reading and I wonder what it is and if I've read it.
I'm in the middle of a Jack Reacher book at the moment.
Like Fourth Wing, I know lots of people, and the new ACOTAR one, like Jade's reading that.
Erin's in an ACOTAR phase, isn't she?
I don't know. I downloaded it. I just haven't started it.
ACOTAR is too popular for me to want to read. Like, I think the fact that it's so hyped makes me not want to read it.
What a hater.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, oh, she's trying to be a hipster.
I'm scared I'll read it and then it won't be as hyped as I think it's going to be.
I think you're supposed to, I've heard that you have to kind of struggle through the first one.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that too.
And then after that.
Struggle in what way? Like,
it's more like a slow, like a hard slog kind of thing. Like it's a lot of world building.
Yeah, setting the scene.
I love world building. That actually makes me want to read it.
Well, get in there, bro.
Where like Fourth Wing, you're like head first into it. Anyway.
Okay, so question then. Do you guys think social media makes it harder or easier to have an abundance mindset in our industry?
I think it can be both, right? Social media can very easily make you feel like, but if you look at it in a way of like collaboration, there's so much opportunities out there. And yeah, I guess it comes back to the way you view it, right? Like Pat was saying, you can either see it as like an opportunity to connect with all these people, or you can see it as I don't have what they have, or I'm not doing what they're doing kind of view.
Yeah, I think you need to know yourself for this one. Like, if you naturally lean towards fixed mindset, scarcity, and you don't have good rules in place for how you use social media, it's so easy to jump on and then get yourself stuck on like a comparison treadmill where all you do is you're like, that person does this and that person does that and I do this and I do that, but oh my gosh, I'm not as good, or I need to be like that person, blah 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 blah. And then you get consumed, especially because social media, like, I know there's this push towards let's be authentic and let's share failures, but a lot of people still use social media to basically, as a highlight reel. People are posting the good stuff. So if you only see other people's good stuff, sure, you could take it like, oh my gosh, there's abundance out there and that could be me too. But depending on where you're at, you could end up in a space where, oh my God, that's never going to be me. And it ends up hurting your abundance mindset. So, like, yes, it can be wonderful. Like, there are so many amazing people out there who talk about abundance mindset and give examples and try and hype you up. And you can make lots of new friends and you can advertise and you can like make your followers can end up becoming great fans or even friends of yours or like really avid clients. But there's also the shadow side of it, right? So depending on where you're at the moment, it's really important that you protect your peace and actually reflect on how are you going to use social media strategically, because it's so easy for it to like become this overwhelming like vortex of negativity, especially if you get sucked into like arguing with people online. Like, that's never productive. So yeah, like, have a strategy and make sure there's a purpose to what you're doing. Otherwise, you don't know, you might end up in a bad place just because you were just like, let social media give me anything.
Yeah, you're right, Pat. And vortex is the word. Like, it will suck you down. And I see people scroll. You see people on the phone and you can just see their thumb going flick, 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 flick. I call it scroliosis. I'm like, bro, you're going to give yourself scroliosis. Get off the phone.
I just know that social media is the worst possible thing for my abundance mindset. Like, if you want to sabotage me and get me to move into scarcity mindset, force me to scroll through socials. I don't follow anything nail related. I don't watch nail YouTube. I don't like the Monaco page follows nail stuff. And then you guys manage that for me, because even just like a brand new newbie nail tech, like someone who isn't even graduated, I'll scroll past their stuff and see them trying something quote unquote new that maybe I've never heard of before. And often I haven't because I don't follow anything. And I'll be like, I should have known about that. I should have done this. I'm not doing enough. And it doesn't matter if I do follow everybody on social media, I'll still have that exact same experience. And if I don't follow everyone, so like, as in, if anyone's going to go like, well, if you followed people, you'd know the new stuff. No, it doesn't go away. It just gets worse. And I get more anxious and I get more like, well, I can't do it then because I haven't thought of all these things and I'm not doing this fast enough and I'm not doing this good enough and this person's better than me. And that, if you want to switch me into scarcity, give me social media. I've carefully curated. I don't have the apps on my phone at all. And then I don't follow anything nail related on YouTube or Facebook. I don't have Instagram, full stop. But I have to a Pinterest, I can follow nail stuff because it's very much just the picture and like work the rest out for yourself. You can stay away from the rest of that information. But otherwise, social media for me personally, not good for my brain. Hey guys, Future Penny here again. Just a super quick interruption to let you know that if you head to monaco.ac.nz/subscribe, not only can you sign up to our weekly newsletter, but you'll also get a free video lesson from our course, The Art of Pigments. That's monaco.ac.nz/subscribe.
I think that comes back to make sure you have a strategy, right? Because it's like you have a strategy, Penny, where you're like, okay, I've gotten myself to the point now where I can have other people scroll the social media for me and it still benefits my business. But you still post on social media. So it's not like you're like social media bad, because you recognize that it's still useful for your business. So you can like jump on and post on your computer. So you have parameters around making sure social media is safe for your brain. And I guess that's the same for the rest of us, right? Like, yeah, okay, cool. So maybe I don't have the capacity to pay someone to scroll social media for me. But, there are extensions out there that can do things like block your Facebook feed from showing up. Like, you can go on Facebook and you can only access the search bar, and then you go directly to what you want to look at, whether it's groups, because you might be in groups like Monaco where you hang out with people and you talk about stuff and you grow from each other, or you might just use Facebook to talk to people. Like, you use the Messenger app for friends, but also you use it for clients and stuff. So there are ways that you can try, and I don't know if there's similar extensions for Instagram and stuff, but as an example, there's the Facebook one. So you can try and put safeguards in place for yourself so you don't end up getting stuck on social media. Like, for example, with me, I I've actually deleted most. I know this is shocking because I love social media. I've deleted most of the social media apps from my phone, with the exception of I still have TikTok on my phone. And that sounds like that's the one that really sucks people in. You are right, except I only use TikTok so that I can record videos, because if you use the native TikTok camera for recording, it's so good at doing the captions. And it's really important to me that I have captions in videos because I want to be accessible to people who might be like, my brain is blanking, but there are lots of people who need captions. I don't know why my brain blanked.
But one thing though, when you were saying someone might not have the ability to pay someone to scroll for them, I do want to just point out that that wouldn't be necessary if our business wasn't B2B, because Monaco is business to business. So our customers are nail techs, therefore we have to follow and engage with nail techs. If we were talking about it as a salon, like, you can choose to follow, like if you're a salon and you have your social media, you don't actually have a business reason to follow other nail techs. You would be following them because they inspire you or you want to. If you had the same brain as me where it doesn't inspire you, it makes you anxious, you don't need to follow the people that make you anxious, and therefore you wouldn't need to pay someone to scroll it for you, if that makes sense. Because if you're a salon and you're trying to build your salon using social media, who you're following should be your clients and local businesses and influencers. Like, following another salon doesn't help you if it's not inspiring you.
Oh, that's so true. And that feeds into the algorithm stuff as well, right? Because the algorithm will push to the right people. But if you're only interacting with other salons, then and other salons are interacting with you, then it's kind of pushing it towards the business owners. But what you actually want is for Facebook and Instagram and TikTok to share your content with clients. So really, you should be interacting with clients and the other businesses who might, like unrelated businesses who might be able to spotlight your business. That is a really good
Like my
point.
salon page, I still don't scroll, but the reason I don't scroll, well, so what I mean is I still don't have Instagram and therefore the ability to scroll from my salon page. But that's just me knowing my mental limitations, because if I have it for the salon and then I'm going on the app habitually, I will then get into a habit where I will search Monaco and I will look at Monaco and I'll be like, why didn't we get more on that? And why didn't this happen? And look at those comments. And I will go down a rabbit hole. I can't be trusted to not follow an impulsive thought. Therefore, I don't have the app, full stop. But on the app, if I were to download it, my account only follows my clients and local businesses. Like, there's no one else you need to follow. And like you said, it screws with the algorithm and it will stop your page growing in the right direction.
I like how you put all these things in place to protect yourself from scarcity mindset. You're like, protect my brain, keep it a safe space.
It's not just scarcity mindset that I'm being protected from, though. Like, it is, but it's anxiety and just it's all the things. I just know what's not good for me, but it also took 3.5 decades to get there.
It's a learning journey, eh?
So, okay then, well, going on from that, what practical habits or rituals have you guys got that have helped you stay in the right headspace? Either abundance or away from scarcity or like whatever, but
I think I'm a little bit like you, Penny. I don't really scroll Instagram. And I think, like you were saying, Pat, because I don't do that and I only really like and interact with a really small group of people, that's all I really see now. I don't see a lot of like other stuff. But yeah, I think for me, I limit the scroliosis time. But I think on social media, I definitely have like an abundance mindset. I'm definitely more like commenting like, wow, those are so cool and I love those and yay for you sort of thing. So yeah, social media actually has been really helpful to me in the last year or so and enabled me, especially because we've moved to a new place, it's enabled me to keep sort of some connection to the outside world because I didn't have it in person here for a little while. So yeah, I think I'm more abundance mindset to social media and don't see it as like a bad thing for me at the moment. But that could change. But yeah, I think just interacting is gonna put you out there a bit more if you are trying to get clients and just
What about just like if you go back to when you were where you used to live and like growing your business and stuff? Like, what habits or rituals did you have then that, say, for example, it's a slow week, you've had a few real good weeks, you're feeling real good, and then next week there's like no booking. What would you guys, like, that was directed at you, Mel, but for both of you, like, what habits or rituals have helped in the past that would keep you in a good headspace? Or if you instinctively slip into a bad one, how do you claw your way out, kind of thing?
I know if it was slow and then I would kind of get that like urge to get that connection back, sometimes I would just hop on and do like a little live where I was just mucking around with art stuff or whatever. That was always good to get people in and interacting and talking and just posting. So if I would post at like 4 p.m., I would try and be on my app at that point. So if someone commented, I could interact with them straight away.
That's such a good one.
Like, it feels nice for you, like you're having this conversation, like, forms that relationship with them as well. But
that ties in with the energy thing Pat was talking about before. It's just because even a conversation on social media in the comments is still an exchange of energy. Like, we used to do this thing before Salon Success and stuff called the One Up Club, which was basically a predecessor. It was just a business and marketing group on Facebook that we ran. And when it was in its peak, until I ran out of energy to make the most of it, but when it was in its peak, I would like finish work for the day and then spend hours in that group interacting with people because I was getting so much from the interaction, even though technically it was work and it was me like sharing stuff I knew. And, it was like I may as well have recorded a podcast episode every evening, which would be exhausting. But getting that interaction was feeding me so much. I think you're really onto something there, Mel, with like putting yourself in a position to interact.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. And the people that used to interact with me back in those early stages, I would say probably 90% of them, we are now friends. Like, we still talk on social media. Like, yeah, they'll always pop in and comment when I post. And it definitely was like a real connection, not just like a social media thing. And on the opposite, if I was not feeling it, I would just completely step back from it. I wouldn't post, I wouldn't interact or anything. Yeah, because I didn't feel like I wanted to put that like energy out. So I would just take a break. Sometimes it was only a day where I'd just tell to people like, I'm switching off for the day, don't try and ring me, whatever. And then I would go back to it when I was like ready. And I would find that if I did take a break, I would start to crave that interaction again and be like, oh, I wonder what they're up to. And then I would go back and it all was well in the social media world. Nothing really changes.
I don't ever crave it, but that's like I'm so happy in my own space. I never crave, like, if I love music, but I'll sit in silence until I remember to put music on. And then I'm like, oh, I love this. And I'm the same with so many other things, like including people and like social stuff. So I won't crave it and I won't seek it out, but then we'll do something like have an active group chat for a specific course or go to summit or go to comps or like stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh, I forgot I love this.
Yeah. I think when we moved, I really craved it because I wasn't getting it in person. So yeah, social media kind of helped me in that way. But now working in retail, when I get home, I'm like, screw all the people. I've had enough of people by the time I get home.
Yeah, same as me if I do a full day of nail clients, I'm screwed afterwards, exhausted. Doesn't mean I didn't have fun. I like the clients. I like the conversations. I just have nothing left afterwards.
Introvert vibes. Need to recharge now. I think that goes to show that we need to find ways to replenish our energy so that we can continue to have an abundance mindset, have a growth mindset. Like for me, I'm always forgetting the stuff that I like or that are important or that fill my cup because I'm, a bit of a magpie and I'm always chasing new things. So then I forget like the fundamentals. So I'm trying to be better at like actually writing things down, like having a list of stuff I can go back to. So if like going back to what if you're having a slow week? Penny talks about you have your hustle hours. So if it's hustle hours time, you should be doing something that is like either seeing a client or doing something to get clients in, right? So if that's the case, but you're also having like a low energy week, then it helps if you can offload some of that executive function. So if you already have a list that like happy, healthy, energetic you wrote down that these are the things that I could be doing in my hustle hours time that will help me get opportunities at, but also protect my energy and aren't too much. So maybe you have it listed that like, okay, liking a client's like or followers posts on social media, that's a low energy thing. I can do that right now. Then cool, you write that down under low energy. But there might be something that's like high energy that you don't do this week. So maybe for some people, they're like, oh, the idea of a live is exhausting. For Mel or someone else, it might be like, jumping on live is easy. So that might go under low or medium energy. You can do that any week. But for someone else, they might be like, no, there's no way I will do running a live on a low energy week. So you might list that down as an idea, but you put it under high or like only when you're in the right headspace. But if you have like a list of stuff that are your go-tos, and you know that it's there and you can refer to it, then at least you don't get it to a point where you're like, oh, I forgot. It's like, okay, don't worry. You have a list. You can come back to it whenever you need it. And then just pick one that feels safe and like energy affirming or and energy like enhancing for you, not something that is going to drain you and make you feel even worse.
I was just going to say, I like that idea. It's kind of like the idea of having like a scheduling calendar, eh? Like taking the thought process out. So you just go, I need to do something. I'm feeling a bit meh. What's on my low energy list? And then pick one, done, sorted.
My like list of things I can do for work is not divided by energy levels. It's divided by fast, makes money, costs money, and doesn't cost, only costs time, like kind of thing. So like something might not actively cost me money to do, but it would cost time while not actively making money. So fast is stuff that I can like set aside a couple of hours and tick off 10 things and feel real good about it. So fast makes money, doesn't cost money, but does cost time, and then costs money. So that's how my stuff is organized, so that then like, yeah, if I need a boost, I can go to the fast list. But it also means that I don't pick the fun things that might be on the cost time or the cost money list. I will go to either fast or makes money. And then if they're all done, cool, I can go to the other list. But I'm not going like, that seems fun, and like wasting when I could be making money. But more along the lines of what you were saying, Pat, but not about work I can do. I do have a piece of paper blue tacked next to me right now that says, I am in charge of whether my day is bad or good. First bullet point, make a plan in the morning. Second bullet point, air, water, sun, movement, and creativity fix everything. Third bullet point, include a beach or mountain walk, painting, reading my magazines, sewing, reading a novel, or gardening and baking. Fourth bullet point, includes some work, tidying, music, or podcasts, good eating, and lots of incense. And the last bullet point says TV and phone does me no good. So it's like, I don't know, in my head, it tied in with what you were saying, Pat, with like getting the energy back. Like I know that those things are how I get my energy back into the right groove. So I have it literally blue tacked on the wall next to me. So if I wake up in the wrong headspace or something happens during the day that puts me in the wrong headspace, I can go back to that list and be like, no, I need to make a plan. I need to include air, water, sun, movement, or creativity. I need to include like hobby. I need to include something that feels like ticking a box, and I need to stay off TV and phone for me.
I love that. I really love that. I think it's so cool how you have these things that energize you and make you feel good as part of the structure of your life, because then that leaves you space and room so that you can do the fast things and the things that make you money, whether or not it affects your mood or not. Like it doesn't have to do with your mood because you have all these other things that uplift you anyway. So I think that totally makes sense. And I really like your idea. I'm like, okay, maybe I should have that like piece of paper that tells me what to do.
Penny from the future popping in just quickly to remind you that if you want more bookings in Salon, you can join our free marketing workshop, The Client Magnet, at monaco.ac.nz/magnet. I think it also lines up with, embracing sometimes when you just need a break and not punishing ourselves and being like, you have to keep going. That washing isn't going to do itself. That meal prep isn't going to do itself. That social media stuff isn't going to do it, like post itself. Whereas actually, if we learn to embrace what our mind and body is telling us we need, it allows time for the hustle hours to be good. Like if we go, okay, well, it's hustle time, so I've got 3 hours to work and I'm going to get this done. And okay, today wasn't the most productive day, but like, don't push yourself to like punish yourself and keep going and you have to achieve something before you're successful. No, you did the thing, you put yourself in the right space, and now you go and do the thing that recharges you so that next time your hustle time is better.
100%. And that kind of mindset is also pushed in the gym when people say, oh, if you don't want to work out, then you just go and do a walk. You give your 1%. You still went, you showed up. It's better than not. Same thing with nails. Like, you still showed up. You still, acknowledged it and put some effort in. Any effort that you had, if it wasn't 100%, it's 100% of what you had to give at the time. So,
and that'll keep you in an abundance mindset, right? Because you're going like, oh, I didn't have to do the 100% or whatever. Like, I didn't have to do a full workout. I didn't have to do the most amount of things or tick this many boxes to get something. But that's believing that there is abundance. That's believing there is a tomorrow. There's another chance to work out. There's another chance to do your hustle time. Like, not everything has to be 100%, like you're saying, Mel.
Yeah, and then you don't fall into that trap of like, oh, well, I've screwed it now. I'll just give up.
That's me. That's me with eating in the gym.
Yeah, so I ate those 4 biscuits. I might as well just eat the whole pack now. Like, screw it.
I'm stuck in that right now with eating. Like,
or I didn't hustle, so oh well, I've screwed it up now. I might as well just stop for the week or whatever. Like,
I think, Penny, what you were saying earlier about having that list of things that are fast, but also and things that make money, stuff that costs money, stuff that only costs time. I think that would be a really useful tip for newer nail techs or really any nail techs. Like, if you need to practice, but like use that in conjunction with feeding your energy, because I think lots of newer nail techs, right, or anyone, if you need to practice abundance, but you genuinely need more clients or you really need more income right now, like, that's a practical tip that they can carry with them. Like, take the time to write things down. Like, what are the things that you know will make money? What are the things that are fast for you to do and will help improve your business? But make the time still to look after yourself, because if you run yourself to the ground, well, guess what? There's no business. So yeah, I think that's really good. What other tips do either of you have that might be useful for new nail techs right now?
In general?
Yeah, in general. That's like abundance mindset related. How do you balance abundance mindset with, I need the money now. I need it now, not 10 years from now.
yeah, like tie it into like, what would you say if you meet up for a coffee with 25-year-old Penny? What would you tell her?
Don't date any of those people. They're all shit. I'm not good at this though, because like nothing. I think she did pretty good.
Good. I always get really like caught up when people ask me this, because I'm like, and I saw a reel the other day and oh my God, it made me want to bawl. It said like something along the lines of like, you've grown into the person that you needed as a child or something. And I was like, ah, my God, like yeah.
That's hard hitting. Oh,
Yeah, it was. I was like, holy hell, yeah.
Like my stuff that I would my stuff's not really helpful to other people, because I would just tell myself to do more research before I got my first commercial space. That's not really relevant. And there was a person that committed employee fraud that I would not hire again. But also, if I didn't hire her, I wouldn't learn stuff. So I don't really regret it as such. It was just, it would be nice if I could have learned that stuff an easier way. But like, I don't think I have like abundance stuff. Like, I was pretty, like I've talked before, I vividly remember the first person that rebooked at the end of an appointment and then called back to cancel, and how I beat myself up over it. But I think I learned pretty quickly that there was going to be another one.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you just have to go through stuff, right, to just learn the lesson. But then sometimes I just wish we didn't have to do that. Why?
Yeah, I mean, there's some lessons that it's like, I really wish I didn't have to learn it that way. But I mean, yeah, I guess it's still part of the journey. But I don't know if I would tell my younger self any different because, like, for example, maybe I would have wanted a diagnosis sooner, kind of thing, like, what's wrong with my brain, blah, blah, nothing. It's just different. But also back then, there wasn't as much known. So I wouldn't have gotten the help I needed anyway, or labels meant something different. So even if I got labeled, that would have had negative consequences. So it's hard to say, what you would do different. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thought exercise, but also maybe we should be like, what would you tell your future self
Yeah.
that you want your future self to do? Because your future self is still coming. So
Like, abundance wise, I just don't think I needed to tell myself anything because I worked it out. But, like, I do wish that I could say, it's almost like if I went back and said to 25-year-old me, I would be like, no spoilers, but just FYI, in like 2025, you're still self employed and you own a house, like with your money. So you're going to get the house and you don't have to go back to work, but I'm not telling you how you get there.
Yeah. So enjoy
Yeah,
the
just
ride.
like a little reassurance that like it's going to be okay. Like in 15 years' time, you're still doing it. But the rest, you can work it out your own damn self.
I love that. That's cute.
I think I see it because I tell all the things to like my daughter, like it's okay for you to say no and it's okay for you to take care of yourself. And because, like when I had kids, it was immediately you're second on the list. Immediately. Like you go somewhere without the babies, people are like, why are you here? Like, where's the babies? Like you're immediately put second. Yeah. And I want it to change though when she has babies. You're still allowed to be you and put yourself first and make sure you're okay, So yeah, I wish someone told me that when I first had babies that, you're allowed to go out for dinner with your friends and leave your babies for the night, because
You are still a person.
I haven't been away from my baby for 4 years. Like, why is that even a thing?
It's so weird how people expect mothers to just like stop being anything except mothers, like their identity is now mother. And then when their kids grow up and it's like, well, you should have kept all your hobbies. Oh, well, you should have kept in touch with your friends. It's like you didn't let people have the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I have kids, but I just observe that in other people and it makes me sad.
Yeah. I'm very like, yeah, especially all the young girls at work. I'll tell them like, don't put this place ahead of you and your future self. Like, this is just a job. Like, look after yourself, like I'm very like da 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 da. All the things that I needed to hear, nobody ever told me that.
Okay, so to wrap it up, what mindset are you in right now? And what's one thing you're going to do this week to improve it? I think right now I am still in abundance, but I'm also like pretty stretched across multiple things. So I think the one thing I'll do this week is like put myself first. And when I say put myself first, I mean like the things that are important to me. So like I've been celebrating like somebody's birthday and like I've got like my sister coming up and I've in the last few weeks I've had a few things where I've like for reasons that I would not change, but I've prioritized other people because I want to spend time with my sister. I want to celebrate important people's birthdays, stuff like that. I'm not saying that was the wrong thing to do at all. I'm just saying like, okay, cool. Now this week, for the rest of the week, I'm going to prioritize my things. And then that will allow space for me to prioritize important people later. But if I like get off track now because I'm off track from having done those significant things, it's a slippery slope. So I'm always in abundance, but I am tired and a bit stretched. So I'm going to refocus and prioritize my important things for the rest of the week.
So I think my mindset is changing to be abundance again. We are slowly getting out of a hole that we've been in. Life's starting to look a little brighter again. So yeah, this week I too am going to make sure I get to the gym and do that for my physical and mental well-being and just allow myself to get excited again. Like, summits, when you guys listen to this, summit's either just been or it's coming up. Yeah, I finally booked my flights and yeah, I just want to be excited about things again and not be like, I don't know, me. I just want to be excited again and change back to that mindset that it'll all be okay. Like, it's fine.
Okay. I think I'm currently more in the scarcity mindset. And I think that's to do with me not putting in the work. Because if you're not putting in the work, you can't expect things to come out anyway. I mean, sometimes good things happen regardless, but realistically, you put in the work and good stuff comes out, like the abundance comes to you. So I just haven't been putting in the work. So I guess what I will do is like set aside a couple hours to work on stuff because I feel like I've been tunnel visioned on other things that are not business related.
What thing are you going to work on?
I'm gonna work on, that's a good question. I think I want to work on social media stuff because that sounds like fun.
So, with that done and dusted, before you disappear, like our page or follow the podcast so that you don't miss the next episode. We'll be back next week. Pat, what are we covering next week?
Next week, we are going to be talking about, are business cards still a thing? Ooh. So I guess we're going to talk about, do people still use business cards? What are business cards for? Has people even seen a business card in the last 5 years when now we have phones? Tune in and find out.
Not just I would not tune in. Not just specifically business cards. Like, we're talking about business cards was the prompt, but we're going to be talking about like what traditional marketing methods are still worth doing and what ones are like dead and dinosaurs.
Okay, fine. I thought it was just about business cards. I'm glad there's more.
Until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy or follow our salons. Mine is Hard Lacquer NZ.
Mine is Pat to the Beauty.
And mine has had a name change. So I'm no longer Jungle Nails NZ. I've changed it to Crafting a Healthy Mel.
Ooh.
That's my mission. And I'm teaching myself to crochet.
So fun. That's so good.
I love that.
Alrighty, have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.